that I adopted his name.
Good for you.
I'll be right back.
Did anybody else go to Diane's thing on the Susan?
I did, and I was inspired
Oh,
to use one of her techniques with my digital microscope, which is a totally different use than she was thinking of, but you'll see it today.
I couldn't be there, but Bob Lee said it's been recorded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
It'll be,
worthwhile.
it'll be online, so I'll catch up with it then.
Well, I was thinking it would be really splendid to do in the winter, you know, when I'm a photographer, so I have to go outside, but something you can do inside in the winter when it's icy.
Right.
and what was I? Oh, was the blues? Is the blues show? Was that talk recorded? And is that on the website?
It should be.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, I do a tour. I'm going to open with a tour of the website, so maybe we'll see it there.
Okay.
Let's come to order. It's 5 after.
Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I have my monthly Environmental Advisory Committee meeting at 7:30, so I'm only going to be here a while. And I'm requesting a little time early on between now and 7:30 simply because I have some questions about style transfer.
Okay.
Maybe you can show your things first, Ron.
Well, let Bob go. I think Bob could go first, but just, sometime between now and, I probably should sign off at 7:25 to sign into the other one, but.
All right. Well, let's do that. I will first do a quick tour of the Plastic Club website because let's see. Because I think we all should maintain our view of that. Terrence is here. Do you all see that? Do you all see?
Hi. Hey, Terrence.
So here's the current news on the Plastic Club website. Note that it has a new a member website.
Bob, we are seeing only you.
Only me. All right. Thank you.
And one another.
Only is not the right word, but we're seeing you.
Only you.
There we go.
Yeah, that's
All
better.
right. Just a review. And so Carla Stein is up, and she's got a good looking website.
Yes, she does.
Look at the font she used.
Very nice.
And then also there's the newsletter, the spring summer newsletter that
Wow.
has a lot of stuff. The question was asked: is Laura's second yes, here is Laura's second presentation. Okay, so that's the end of my, I just wanted to fill you guys in on that. Susan, you're muted.
Okay, I do have something that's very important to share, which is that I think I have to go to this meeting because it's a township meeting with Ron. So I'll also leave at 7:30. But the most important thing I have to
No,
share is that
Susan, it's the next one, the Planning Commission meeting. This one is not that important.
okay, then I won't go to this one. I thought it was the PATH meeting. Okay, so anyway, the important thing I have to share is that right now we're accepting submissions to the next show, which is Inspired by Great Artists. And so Ron and I,
Someone has a sound source on. I'm sorry to interrupt. Oh, you know what? I think I'm still running the Laura's till Salon, so that's my fault. Continue.
okay, so today Ron and I both submitted our entries for the Inspired by a Great Artist show. Now, on Ron's computer, everything went swimmingly. But when I was going to do my submission, it didn't go so well. So I was able to do it in the end, but it wasn't a direct process the way it was when Ron did it. So I'm just saying that if you could kindly put in your submission and let us know if you have a problem, because I think my problem was simply my problem with my computer, but I'm not actually sure. I have a Mac, and we're just wondering, this is probably the first show we're using Dropbox for. So if you could get your entries in soon, and if you have a problem, then talk to Bob Lee about it, because we need to know right away, because we don't want to discourage people if other people are having the same problem that I had.
Right.
I
That's all.
uploaded something and I got a, something like congratulations,
Good.
like a little message, and I don't know if I could have gone in and checked, but it sort of recounted my information, and so it seemed to say that it was done and dusted.
Are you
Right, if
Windows
you
or
got-
Mac?
If you got a confirmation email, then that's
No,
great.
right there, right on the spot.
Perfect.
I don't know, I might have gotten an email, I don't remember, but it was like when you order something from Amazon and it says, thank you for ordering, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it seemed to accept it.
Well, I had the interesting experience of I couldn't get my photos on. I won't go into detail, but the part that the form went through, but I couldn't get my image to go through. So I did it a second time in a different way. I saved the image to my desktop, and that time it worked just fine. So I'm just worried that if other people are discouraged, then they might not work so hard to correct it.
I submitted my piece a few days ago and I got no, that was it. I got no response. And then I went on the website to see if I was in there, and I didn't know how to find out if I'm on that list.
Okay, Ted, I'll send an email myself and ask Bob to look up and see that yours went through.
Okay, thanks.
Because that's exactly what we're trying to find out is, because it's a new thing to use the Dropbox, and there are lots of dialogues that come up depending on what kind of device you're using to upload your image, you know?
Fine, thank you.
I'll let him know, yeah.
And Ted is also a Mac, so that fits
Oh.
your,
Okay,
I'm a Mac user.
so what I saved mine to the desktop and pulled the image from the desktop, and that worked just fine.
That's how I do it too, yeah.
Okay,
I submitted mine and I emailed Bob Lee to ask him if it went okay, and he said yes.
oh, good.
Good.
All right, so you're ahead.
Bob Lee's the man.
You're all ahead of me then.
I
All right.
uploaded mine from the desktop too, so hopefully.
Ron has stepped away. Ron, are you, he
He
returned.
magically appears.
You're muted. Yeah. You're muted, Ron.
Anybody know sign language?
Yeah. Okay, now we hear him.
So, yeah, I wanted to, reason I asked, because I have to leave a little early, and I just wanted to show some stuff that with the style, just some experimental work with the style transfer. And so, and then I have questions for Bob before I went further with that. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Let me see here.
Oh,
Okay, here we are. So this is the section. This was the deep art one, right,
Mhm.
Bob? And then here was the original, and this is what happened with deep art. One of these sites, and I can't remember if it was Deep Art or Dreamscope, if you wanted the HD image, you had to pay 19 euro. If you wanted a print, it was like 39 euro. And I'm like, no, you know?
Oh,
So-
yeah.
You know, so I don't know if you have encountered that, or if they have kind of like, you know, how sometimes when you ride public transportation, the trains or planes or whatever, there are different prices for different people. So I'm not sure if I was unique in seeing that really high price, but anyway, I was discouraged from proceeding as a result of that. Although sometimes the lower res images are still workable.
Yes, I do not pay for them to blow it up on Deep Art. I just blow up you'll be surprised at how much detail is in that
Yeah.
when you enlarge it.
Well, the other site, what's the one that we started with?
Dreamscope app,
And the other one, the original Neural Art.
Neural style.
Neural Styles,
Yeah.
yeah.
When you upgrade that to ultra high def, it's not all that expensive, and there really is a difference in quality.
Agreed.
So that's worth it. But this one, right. So that was the original. Now here's another one. This one was the Dreamscope one. And this was a picture. I don't have the original here, but it was a picture of these chimneys on top of the apartment building, the Gaudi apartment building in Barcelona. And I thought that was a pretty cool.
That's
But
funny.
It
again,
is
I'm
very
not gonna
cool.
pay 19
Look like
euro to
people.
upgrade it.
I wish you had the original.
It looks kind of hip hop.
Huh?
It looks hip hop.
Yeah.
Looks
Like
COVID.
sunglasses and
Very good.
masks and face coverings.
Oh, anyway, and then here's another one I did. This one was the original. I took my photo of a music performer in Street of Sitges in Costa Brava in Spain. And so this was the original coming out of that. And I've noticed, Bob, that you work a lot of times with post-processing even after you get the image. You put layers on top of that. So I started to do that, and I think you do it really well and in very sophisticated results. So I'm not where you are yet in that sense. I tried a bunch of things, but this was probably the best result I got out of it, which was, in my opinion, which was kind of an extrude filter on top of it. And I masked out the image of the woman because I didn't want her to be distorted, but the background, I don't know, is that better or is that better?
I like the other one.
Me too.
This one's better?
This one.
It looks
I
like
like the first one more.
Evita Peron. It looks like Evita Peron.
You know what, Jane? Did you say it or somebody else said
I
that?
said that on Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the other one.
You like this one, Ted?
Yeah, it shows the energy,
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
All right. And then I have some other, I just like, I don't want to take, maybe I'll save this for another time, but I really like this oil paint filter that they have in Photoshop. And, so this is like a photo that I took of myself when I was really young, and I had my Canon FDB camera. And this was a friend of mine who was an artist, and he found a mirror with a bullet hole in it. And he put some red stuff on there, make it look like blood. And then I
Nice.
that thing. So, and this was a slide that, took 40 years ago, 45 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And this is another example of that same filter applied to a pretty mundane picture of 4-H animal show. The most interesting part of the picture was the sheep were just so beautifully shorn, and these kids are getting ready to show in a contest. And they're aligning the feet, making sure everything's just right and so forth. And again, it's a pretty mundane photo ordinarily, but I just liked the way that turned out with that filter. I don't know. Do you want me to stop? I mean, I want to give other people a turn too.
No.
Okay.
I will comment on that one that it's amazing that you got the windows so good. That
Yeah.
the light from the windows didn't overpower the other image.
Reminds me of Rockwell.
Norman Rockwell, yeah.
It has that sort of atmosphere too, this
Yeah.
footage, and I also like the fact that, you can't really recognize the people, so I didn't have to worry about somebody not wanting their picture to be public.
Especially the sheep.
Yeah, right. I know that sheep.
You know how sheep are.
They're like sheep.
And this again was, many, many years ago, and I just liked how that filter worked with her hair,
Mm.
and then the background, and let's see what else with that filter. It's another
That's the Photoshop oil painting filter.
Photoshop oil painting filter, yeah. And there's settings, so you can change the how much brushstroke there is and so forth. This one too, this is the original. This was, I was in Montevideo, I was a computer person, right? And we were installing a racetrack totalizator system in Montevideo, and this was in the 80s. And this was sort of the team that was doing it. She was the head of the team. And every meal was the same. Every meal was for lunch or dinner. It was always a big piece of steak, French fries, and sometimes you get a salad and Coke. And it was like this thick, syrupy Coke, you know, unlike American Coke. And that's what they drink all the time. You know, it's like, geez, you know.
And everybody's smoking.
And people were still smoking back then. Yep.
Yep.
And no ice.
No, exactly. You're right. How did you know that?
Try to get ice in Europe. Forget about it.
No ice, right. One time I was drinking sparkling water at the time, you know, and it's agua mineral. And I said, no ice. And I'm like, how can you order ice? And they said, well, con hielo, with ice, con hielo. So it said, agua mineral con hielo. And so they brought me the mineral water with a glass, and then they brought me a plate with a big hunk of ice, a big block of ice on it. And I could see them looking out the window like, what is that Yankee going to do with that, you know? And then I asked for lemon too. It was con limon, you know, with lemon. And they brought me a lemon, you know? And then, you know, con pedacito lemon, a little piece of lemon, you know?
Where was this again?
This is in Montevideo, Uruguay. This is like 1980 something, you know? Anyway, and then let's see what else with that filter. Oh, this is another extrude filter. This is the original photo. And then this is the one in Lightroom. So the colors have been changed a little bit. I sort of softened up the colors and then used the extrude filter, which I think is just, doesn't work for every image, but it worked for this one.
Pretty cool.
And this was just, oh, this was neat. This is the original. This is the pumps for the fountains at Longwood. And I just liked somehow these like squares and played with that a little bit and came up with that. I don't know, I like that better.
Very nice.
I'd like to see them layered.
Layered more?
The colored one, I like the black and white kind of on top, but I'd like to see them combined. But
More color in this, Bob?
yes, make this one a layer over the previous one.
I'll try it, thank you. Okay. And then these were just, you know, I'm just thinking like sometimes if you take pictures of just plain stuff, no filters, no anything, you know, how sometimes it can really, you know, like there's always this question of should you fool with it or just leave it? And this one was one that's, I think is pretty subtle with that filter because I look at this and I don't really see that oil pan filter's been used, but if you look up close, you can see that it has been.
Oh, yeah.
And not universally. I mean, some of it was masked and some of it was just a background, but it just made it feel, I liked it better. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Very good.
Very
Um,
Thanks for sharing.
So Bob, but the takeaway is just work with the low definition ones. Don't pay money to upgrade. That's what you do.
yes, except on Neural Style art where it's cheap.
Okay.
Like the 19 euros, that's $23. I wouldn't consider it.
No.
All right, who else has stuff to show? All
I do.
right. We missed Anders last week. Let's start with Anders.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I don't have my own stuff to show, but Tracy Landman sent me an email. And so before I sign off in 10 minutes, there's
Why don't
time.
you do that?
Yeah, why don't you
go
Susan,
first.
why don't you do that?
Okay, let me try.
So you don't have to sign off.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That meeting is not the important one.
I'll go ahead and do it anyway.
Okay, so what I'm trying to show is my email, which is on there. Let's see, Tracy's email. Is this it? Yeah, okay, I guess this is what I'm showing. Okay, so this is what you're seeing exactly what she sent to me, right?
Nice.
So there's a
Very nice.
message there, an email message that you can all read, right?
No?
Yeah.
Yes.
She's just saying that she'll come back Tuesday. For now, these are the paintings as they appear at the moment. So I'm just going to scroll down because there's a few of them. So I think what she means is this is in progress.
Wow.
Very good, very good,
Yes.
very good.
I love
That looks like a very long, long
Yeah.
painting. New one.
Very good.
This seems to have a very watercolory feel to it.
Mhm.
I know she's,
And surrealistic concepts.
okay, now it looks like we're going to a new image down here. Of course, when she shows it to you, she'll show you it in a more sensible way than that. This just came in right before the meeting.
Ah.
And look at those shoulders on those. It looks like people with shoulders. Look at those. Oh my God.
Wow.
Whoa!
That's cool.
Rocket.
Very good.
She showed us an earlier iteration of this a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it wasn't as far developed.
She had just started it. It looks like it's pretty well fleshed
Yeah.
out.
This is really good.
Very good.
I'm going to stop the share because you really should save your comments for her, but I'm sharing because she asked me to do that.
What's the title of that? Mudslide?
I don't know. That's
Yeah, the one looked like it was a proportion of like 7 to 1. It really looked long and skinny.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see next week. Okay, Terrence, did you have something?
Talking to
You said
me.
Anders. You said Anders.
Oh yeah, Anders.
Can I go? Because once
Yeah.
again, I'm still working, but at least I could join. I'll probably have to leave a little early.
Okay.
So, okay, so let's see here. So this is essentially 4 drawings. They're all 26 by 40.
Wow.
They're riffing off the same image of coastline in Spain that I did as small paintings. And these are, I have a digital camera, not a smartphone, and they're just terrible photos. I did what I could to
What is
color correct.
what is the medium?
It's ink
Uh-huh.
and pastel and graphite
Oh.
on this paper that has a texture.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody was at the drawing marathon, I brought a ream of this stuff from the Artisan Craftsman, so you may have all used some of it.
Huh.
So what I've also done is, so there's 2 that are on the textured side of the painting. So this is one, and this is the other one. The light is terrible here. It's much too dark over here. But I have some details that give a better idea of what's going on.
Oh.
So this is part of that one.
Oh, that's cool.
The color is, there's also, which is hard to see, there's lines in this, what purports to be the ocean, kind of current. This is part of the rocky.
Oh.
Toward the end, I started playing with ink a little bit. And this is the other, that was one, this is the other one. There's a lot of pastel in this. Conte crayon. Gives you an idea.
Yeah.
This is casein here. A little bit of gold pen. I love these little uniball gold and silver and pens you can get. But I was also using gold ink with a regular pen. And you can see a little bit of that sort of, maybe not, current up here. It's much more easy to see in the real piece. There's another section of that. I'm not going to linger on these things. It's just too many. These are details of those. And then there's the other 2 are on the smooth side of the paper because I screwed up the drawing on the other side, but I didn't want to waste it. So I flipped it over, and this is all smooth. And I'd been wanting to do some kind of airbrush. And I went out and I got a little pipette from Blick, and it did not work. But I realized I had a little spray bottle of eyeglass cleaner. And when that got used up, I used that. I just put ink in it. The problem is it sprays a wide field. It's hard to control it. But I just had fun, a lot of fun with these. And then there's ink and a little bit of pastel. And I think of these two as, if anybody knows the Wagner operas, the giants Fafner and Fasolt that built Valhalla. And then Fafner killed Fasolt, so it's kind of my names for them.
Oh,
This is the other one. It's a little, the drawing's a little looser up here. And I used it like a really intense blue here.
Nice.
And also the sky, or no, ocean. I got the idea, I wetted the paper first and then used that little spray bottle with blue ink and sprayed it directly onto the wet. And it created that nice feeling there. These little white spots, I have no idea where they came from. There was some kind of resist that was resisting the ink, but I liked them. So that's those two. And then these are details
Oh,
that
wow.
give a little more, there's a little gold ink. They give
That's
a
like
little more,
painting within itself right there.
Mm.
yeah. These look a little more like the actual color.
Well,
So Diane, when I'm looking at the way that we're seeing Andres's work, I'm thinking about an accordion book, because each little section is so engaging and so is the whole thing. And Andres, I'm wondering if you could would ever consider doing it in that format, where you intentionally do a long skinny that you fold into an accordion. But you could do the whole composition and then fold it. And then, you know, in real life, people would be looking at each section.
Right.
And then they could, when it's fully open, they get the whole image. Because that's kind of the experience we're having right here.
I'd have to think about that. I mean, this is quite large, you know, I'd have to do possibly. It's an idea.
The pipette that you were using, is that within arm's reach? Or spray?
Is it what?
Is it within arm's reach?
No, it's in my studio. It's one
Okay.
of those little metal L-shaped, it's on a hinge, the open ends, you stick it in the liquid, and then you blow through the one, and it's supposed to aerate and push the ink out over the top. I tried every possible angle, blowing speed. I could not get the damn thing to work, but I used one of these.
Oh,
And it worked great. The only thing is, like I said, it sprayed, you couldn't control it. But for a big piece, you know, I like the effect that it gave.
So Andres, there's a tool that I use in my watercolor studio that you might be interested in. And it's actually it's a sprayer, but it's meant for a hairdresser.
Okay.
So you can get a
See, I wouldn't know anything about that.
but you can get a super fine mist from it. So it's just like, in addition to all those other types of sprayers they have, it's great for like wetting an area very softly.
Uh-huh.
Because it's very much mist, but you can keep going at it. You can hold the thing down and the mist will do a continual spray.
Okay. Is it electric or something? Or?
No, I'll run down and get it and hold it up.
Okay.
and I have a bottle. I got it at the at Walgreens. It's a small bottle of, I think it's like fabric spray, like sprayed on and iron. But I emptied that stuff out, and it's just a little bottle. It sounds like what Susan was talking about.
Mm.
That I use to, actually I use it to keep my paint wet on the palette.
That's a good idea.
But I do want to say, Anders, your pieces are so playful and lovely. They're just so alive. And I admire that. Maybe I'll try that sort of thing.
Oh, well, I'm just having fun. So
would you show them again? Like just the whole piece? Would you go through them again? Just like the whole piece? Would you just go
You mean
through
the
them
big
again?
one?
Yeah, like the big, like,
The one you use the spray on. I'd like to see that.
like how many, you had what, like 4 pieces up?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Could you just show each one again? Just the whole thing though?
Okay, okay. I gotta get them back up there.
In the meantime, I'm going to show you this sprayer. This is what it looks like. It's a hairdresser's thing.
Oh, okay.
And there's a pump here, and it gives a long continual spray. So it's a really nice tool. This one you probably have. You can fill this with paint.
That's a good one.
That's from
Okay.
Gaunt Industries. It has a metal tip, and it comes in 2 different sizes. So one is really meant for water, and the other metal tip size is large enough for paint. So, you know, you can apply the paint
You
that way.
probably go get that at Target or something, right?
Yeah, so they're just fun things to have around. You use them occasionally, and you're glad you have them. This I use a lot. I use this almost every day.
Okay, I'll look out for that. Let's say,
On
so,
Amazon.
all right, I'll show real quickly again. This is the order they came up in, so I'll just. You wanted to see the big ones, right? These are
Yeah.
these are the details. All right, this is one of them. Now this is actually a lot lighter. It's not. See, it's a gray. It's got a gray cast to it. But that's.
That's just so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Mind. And let's see. I like all this up here.
Yep.
And this is the other one. I think of this one as Fafner. He killed Flassold. And then he got the gold of the ring and was eventually slain by Siegfried. But this is pastel. And most of that's pastel. And for something
Are
like
you
this, I
wetting
don't.
the pastel, Anders?
Huh?
Are you wetting the pastel first?
No.
Okay.
But what I am doing, I'm not using pastel spray.
Okay.
Something like this, I use spray varnish.
Okay.
It really nails it down. It does change the color, but it's less. It's a little more impervious to. So that's about it. Okay.
That's beautiful.
I'm going to take any more
Thank
time.
you.
Bravo, Anders.
Oh, thanks. Well, that's what I've been working on for like a month, but I couldn't join the last 2 weeks. So.
Okay,
Thanks for the kind thoughts.
thank you, Anders. Terrence, do you have anything?
Yeah, I have something. This is kind of COVID coping because what I'll show you. And it also shows the main thing I wanted to show had more to do with the materials involved. But okay. When it first started during the with the so-called incubation period, I didn't know what to do with myself, so I decided to do a mural on the wall. And so this is what it looks like. Of course, it's Dea, and that's what it looks like. Not completely finished,
Nice.
That's
but
great.
Very nice.
That's
What's on the wall?
huh? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, cool.
So this was like done in high anxiety period. I as typical of me, I left it off. I mean, I want to deepen some of the shadows over here. Even though the Mediterranean was that color blue, it's like an ultramarine blue that inspired it. I think it's a little too much right here. There's some things I should do, but I probably have lost interest in. And I also made the shadow of the cat coming from the actual window rather than the window it's in. And also, just as some fun, I guess, as a distraction. These characters up here, in the overhanging olive tree, are actually figures of a cat playing with her kittens.
Oh,
So
Oh, nice.
just a little detail, but like I said, it's not. Well, it's not a great photograph, but anyway, that was during the height of the first 2 weeks when we first decided to sequester.
Oh, that's
Some of you may have seen this on the Facebook page. This leads into the thing I want to show. I did this, we were doing gardening, etc., and we had some of these stones around, and we found some of these fire bricks. People were throwing out stuff like crazy in the beginning, and somebody was throwing out this fire pit. So I buried it, and we got a Dutch oven. We ordered a Dutch oven to hang over. But that got me thinking I wanted to do some sculpting. So
Oh,
when I
wow.
could
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I could get back into the studio. Originally, I wanted to do a standing figure that Steph had struck this pose. But then I didn't know anything about celluclay. So I also had in the back of my mind, I asked Bernadette to do this reclining pose. So I thought maybe, because I'm not going to build an armature with celluclay and stuff, I don't know the material well enough. So I thought, a reclining pose would be easier, or might work better. It didn't. Celluclay, it's not the materials problem. It was my problem not knowing it. It had this tendency the water to powder proportion is very critical. And I think I may have told Anders about this, is like, I would have the features of the face done, I would think, perfect, I'm looking at it at all angles. I'd go down for a cigarette, 5-10 minutes later, this whole side would be distended because the water would be soaking through the piece and down. So basically, as I went along, this was the piece as it was I was finishing, and I entitled it Gaia Rests. And I put a skirt on her because I thought it just didn't look right the way it was. But another little pretension or conceit, the reason why I have the mirror in the background is because, okay, we're talking Gaia, Mother Earth, correct? So I sculpted her, if you can read the back, with one eye open. The conceit being, of course, that one eye open is on you.
Yeah.
So, and that was basically, I did that when I first got back into the studio after the period of incubation, and we felt reasonably sure we didn't have it. So just to finish up by talking about the materials, this piece basically over time, while in the drying period, flattened out. The water kept going down. I was letting it dry. I was trying to let it dry at a particular rate, like keeping one part uncovered, et cetera, et cetera. It looks nothing like this now. It's basically the earth may be round, but my Gaia here is flat. So that's it. There she
At
is.
least you thought to photograph it. That was
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the way this turned. I didn't know whether it was corny or not, but I like the way it turned out. I like the, because when you do it, it wouldn't be something that you would say, point out. It would be something that somebody would have to discover. So, in other words, my idea is that somebody would look at it, see the writing backwards on the back, and the only way you could do it is if you put, like, say, your cell phone behind it as a mirror to see it. Then you would be taking a picture of yourself, taking a picture of that, and it would be all like whatever.
Could you just describe the flattening? I mean, if we saw it now, it would be.
It's longer. The piece is longer. The features are all distorted.
You didn't take a photo of it in its final state?
No. You know what? I tried to paint it to see if I could. I don't know what I was doing. And the other thing about this celluclay, I think it could work. I'm not blaming the materials. I'm blaming my lack of knowledge of the materials. It kind of stinks. It gets this smell. It's made from recycled newspaper,
Ah,
which I pretty much like the idea of, but I just didn't know the material. I never try in anything I try to do. I never blame the material. It's always my ignorance of the material. And that's the case here. I didn't know that it was going to do that. It wasn't like, it didn't behave the way regular clay behaves. So that was that.
So basically, as it dries out, where it loses water, I guess, is that it? Like it loses moisture and,
Yeah, correct.
okay.
But it's the way, I think that the way water is seeking its own level is going down.
Down, okay.
And that's what basically happened. Maybe I added too much water. Maybe like in the process, like back here, after like a day of working, I would, like you would with clay, I would moisten a rag, cover it, and go home.
Mhm.
And then the next day I'd start, maybe that water was sinking in and soaking the base, and then it start to splay, that type of thing. So the other lesson learned is, despite the fact, I should give credit to Bernadette for this, despite the fact that I did these, there's also a fourth one, from all angles and trying from the top. When you're sculpting, you really need the person there, because you have to go more than 360 degrees around. You have to go like every increment and because it's just, that's the nature of the beast as far as I could, my experience. She thankfully during this was sometime in May or April. I couldn't get the shoulders the way it was twisted. So I texted her, I said, could you just take a picture or have somebody take a picture of yourself in this pose like that, from this angle and from above? And she did it.
Wow.
So, once again, I'm like a broken record, always giving a shout out to the models. They're the best that we use. So
It's good.
but that was a lesson kind of in COVID communication too, and trying to get something done in that way. So that's it.
well, you still have your memories.
Yeah.
And the experience of it.
Yeah. I would rather forget it.
So you don't think you'll work with that again?
I may, I still like the idea of it, but we'll see, onward and upward,
It reminds me of that great scene, if anybody's ever seen the classic movie, The Horse's Mouth, with Alec Guinness.
Yes.
And there's a sculptor working the floor below him. He's doing a commission for a municipality, and it's Mother Earth grieving over her children. And it starts out at this huge block of stone, like 15 feet square. And by the time he's finished, it's a piece about 2 feet high. And he calls to Alec Guinness, whose name is Gully Jimson in the movie, and he says, Jimson, come here. What does it say to you? And Alec Guinness says, it says, I'm getting smaller and smaller.
Exactly. In this case, flatter and flatter. So, all right, well, thank you. That's what I got for this week.
Very good.
Great, Terrence, thanks.
Diane, do you have anything?
I do, and actually, I can't believe that I didn't remember I had these, because this is, let me find my screen share. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yes?
Okay, so this is actually work by some students I had at the Art Museum. And they were using the technique that we talked about the other day at the demonstration. And I can't believe I completely forgot about this, but the project was they had to study patterns from nature, which they did. I mean, the project goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And these were high school, I guess mainly juniors, I'd have to say. And each cube is 6 inches by 6 inches. And they had to construct the cubes, and everybody had to make at least 3. And then they got to pick the one they wanted most and make the installation and this went into the art museum, which is a great thing for kids to be able to show their work in the art museum. But they studied nature patterns, and we used a technique that we were talking about in the workshop the other day, where they just printed from all kinds of found things, vegetables, junk, just to mimic patterns in nature. And the actual whole piece is called The Building Blocks of Nature. And let me see if I could get a detail. So there's a detail. But, it's quite large. If you could imagine, like 6 inches by 6 inches, and there was probably, I don't know how many of them. This is just one view. And that's it. That's what I wanted to show you tonight.
Beautiful.
I like the way you arrange the boxes.
Yeah, and
And the
they
shadows.
they all worked on this. It was a group project, so everyone was involved in every aspect of this. So, yeah.
Was it everybody working together on site? Or did they work at home and bring them in?
I went to their school. That's how this works. And I go to their school, and I mean, the problem with schools, a lot of times you only have a 40-minute period, but a lot of schools now are going to these 90-minute periods, which is the optimal time, because you got to set up, you got to give the lesson, you got to clean up, you got to make the work. But again, this went over probably 6 weeks, this whole project. And because there's many components to it. They get to go to the art museum a couple times, and they get very specific tours. And I actually have, this is the label. I don't know how to blow this up. Let me try. But you'll see the label. It gives you the project. This Archbishop Ryan was the high school. I did this program for years. It was the first time I ever was put into a Catholic school. So I thought that was interesting. But we spent a lot of time in this room in the art museum. And the reason we did that, this is the reception hall from the Palace of Duke Zhao. I'm not going to say that name right. First half of the 17th century. The reason we spent so much time in this room is because the docent that was assigned to us, and they do a lot of work, that there's a lot of animal and nature patterns on all of these objects. So after the students had their lesson, their lecture on the meaning of this room and the history, they got to walk around the room and do sketches and observe things closely. So it's a very intense program. It's not just I show up, we make art, everybody goes home and they're happy. It's a very, very intense project. And so I wanted to show you this wonderful, and probably many of you have gone and seen this room in person. It's amazing. So
I
Diane,
agree. I love that room, Diane.
yes.
did you develop this project on your own or with in collaboration with the art teacher?
Well, what happens is it's a pretty long process, but to give you a very short answer, it is done in collaboration with the art teacher. You have to meet, there's always the state standards you have to meet. So,
Mhm.
so this was also considered partly a science project as well as an art project and a history project. So yeah, it's a full collaborative thing. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if you guys know, but probably next week or a week later, the museum is opening.
Oh, good.
It's officially opening on the 6th, but it's open the 3rd through the 5th for members. But I think you have to sign up online to get in.
Good to know.
I did not know that.
I think I heard the Metropolitan opened in New York.
The 24th, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Jane, are you still searching Kim?
I don't have any.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Do you want to? Do you have something to show?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Janice also has something. Janice, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
also had something. Would you like to go first? Would you like to go before me?
It doesn't matter, Kim.
Okay,
doesn't-
well, I'll be real brief, okay? Because I only have two things. I believe I see Sarah in the audience. Sarah, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I wanted to thank you for that lovely postcard. Thank you so much.
Oh, and thank you for your lovely note.
Oh, well, that's very kind. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, let me just try and get to, okay, this is actually, I did it on GIMP. You had suggested, Bob, that I don't use that enormous screen. So this is actually for Anders, because he said a few weeks ago that photographers should just take photographs. So Anders, this is for you.
No, that wasn't what I meant. I meant
Oh.
you should value your photographs in their own right.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want, but don't dismiss them just because they're photographs.
No, I wouldn't, because I'm a photographer. Okay, so the two things that I'm going to show you were taken after the blues exhibit, which was very energizing for me. But there was actually a storm brewing. And so I took what I could, and this is what I took. I've noticed this barn a long time, and it doesn't have a structure. It's just the roof. The whole barn has collapsed.
You haven't shared screen yet.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Really? Oh, geez. Sorry. I do beg your pardon.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh.
So here we go. We've done a lot of abstract and beautiful stuff today. Absolutely fabulous. But this is, again, just a photograph. And the reason I took it, I was talking about this barn, that the whole structure had collapsed. So I've seen it for a while, but on this day, because of the weather, because it was so stormy, I saw it like an Edward Hopper. And the reason I'm saying that is I've always despised utility poles and never included them in anything I've ever done. And in this image, I actually framed it with the telephone poles. And I would have made it smaller, but it was taken a wide shot, and it didn't work. So I showed it just like this, and then I collaged, and of course the birds and my friend Shirley. So that's one thing that I did. Any comments?
Beautiful.
Nice composition.
I have a question. Is the barn, does it have, are we looking at just the top of it and there's
Yeah.
posts there, but
Jane,
there's, okay.
Jane, the barn actually has collapsed. I've never seen a collapsed barn with just the
So
roof.
there's no posts on the sides of it.
No,
It's
the
actually
whole
down.
yeah, the whole thing just collapsed. And I've often seen it, but I never saw it in this way on that day. And I attribute it to Roberta's energetic, chairmanship of the exhibit, the blues exhibit. It just filled me with whatever. And so I went and did this. Now, the second thing is a style transfer. So let me show you this. This was on the other side of the road as I was driving up.
Ah.
And it is in the style of a gentleman called Auerbach, who was born in Berlin in 1931, came to London obviously as a child after the war, or during the war, before the war. And he never, ever did landscapes, ever. He lived in Camden Town in London, where I lived as a student myself. And he did urban things and he did portraits. But I used his style transfer on a landscape, and this is what I got.
Huh, cool.
But what I wanted to now, I will say that I did ask Jesse Vandenberg, who is my friend and whose advice I take very, very carefully. And he said that he found this. I don't know if you can see me pointing to it.
Yes.
The reason I left it in was because I've been trying to work with utility poles, with that I've always excluded. But he said he found it very distracting, but I can always remove it. It's not hard to do. So I will finish by just showing you the car. The car, it was taken in Buenos Aires, February 2020. And there was a car convention that particular weekend. And so I took lots of car shots. You know, I kind of like to put cars in my things. But now that I've learned about digital collage, I don't have to stick it on with glue. I can actually just digitally add it. And I have added it to a few things.
Cool.
So that was the car that you saw.
Cool.
And I noticed after I did it that I put it on the left-hand side of the road, look, which is not American. So I do apologize.
Kim, I have an idea.
Yes,
Can you go back to the stylized one?
sure. And I do have a comment for Susan, who had asked a few weeks ago if we have gotten to the point with style transfer where we can tell ahead of time what's going to work and what isn't. Well, the answer is I'm sure that Ron and Bob probably can, but I have not been so lucky. I've actually had 50 renders, as they call them, and only about 5 or 6 or 10% have been usable. So I've had a lot of wastage, if you like. A lot of things have not worked for me. So it's been a trial and error process. Sorry, Susan, you were going to say something.
Okay, so I'm just thinking about what Jesse's comment about the line there.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
I'm wondering is, you guys are so clever with digital. I wonder, if you take that angle and you just play with the angle and sort of flatten it a little bit so it goes off to the right-hand side,
Like here?
like at an angle that would go like towards the corner? No, up. No,
That way?
right,
That way?
other side.
That way?
Yeah,
Like run it up that way, not to the
To the
corner.
right?
Yeah, but to the left of the corner.
To the left?
No, no,
Okay.
no. To the right, but left of the corner. To the right. Bring your cursor up to the corner, but move it slightly to the left. Yeah, so the angle would go something like that. And then you can play around with your birds afterwards to find out.
Yeah.
By the page a little bit
You
different.
know what? When you first made the suggestion, I thought I can't do that. And then I thought, I think I can. Because what I would then do is cut this out and move it,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, just play with different angles and
Look
you'll
at it.
find something.
Yeah. I have never done that before, yes. So
There's
move,
something that's going to feel correct and you'll find it.
so move it this way, you say.
That would be my first instinct, to try that angle. Because
Uh-huh.
then it will feel like it's going overhead, over you, but it's not as acute.
Uh-huh.
And then you can figure out the birds, you can plop them in wherever they fit in your composition.
I see.
But to
Okay.
fix
okay.
the line thing first, if you agree with Jesse that it needs to be changed.
Yeah, you know what, truthfully, as a photographer, I never really noticed because I was very concerned that day not to ignore utility wires and poles as I have done in the past. So I didn't really see it as a distraction, but he saw it as a distraction. And so my first instinct was just to remove it.
Well, the other thing that you can do along with changing the angle, I think changing the angle will help. You can also make it a lighter line. So it's de-emphasized, but it lives there.
Yeah,
May I put in my 2 cents?
sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perhaps what's bothering him is perhaps this wire may just be too straight. I'm thinking if it just had a curve to it, a little bit more of a curve, I think it would
Yeah, that's a possibility.
work
Yeah.
fine where it is.
Yeah. Listen, I want Janice to go. So this is the original. This is the render. And I will have the floor, give over the floor to Janice. If I may, Bob, if you don't mind
Sure.
me taking over like that.
I just want to point out, Kim, that Van Gogh,
Very
Yeah.
much.
some of his paintings
Yes.
has utility poles and wires. They were
Van Gogh?
telegraph, but they were
Van
making an
Gogh?
appearance in Europe.
Really?
Yeah,
No, I've never noticed.
yeah.
No. Okay, I'm trying to get back into Zoom, Bob. I
I'll-
can't. Oh, here we go.
I'll close it.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank
Janice,
you.
you want to go?
Thank you, Kim. Really. Okay, I guess it's my turn. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Um,
Yes.
I've been working with different layers and doing photo collages that way, and I decided to group them together so I could get a better sense of what I'm doing. So here are 5 of them, and let's see. You guys have seen this one, this one, this one. This one is new. Okay. And then this is
Oh, that's beautiful.
also new. That's new. And that one is new.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Thank you. It's strange. I don't know where. I don't
They're
know.
great. They're-
Is there a way to see them individually instead of in a group?
Yes, there is, but
Because we have such an emotional response to color that it's better to just see them one at a time.
let's see. All right. Well, here's one. That's one.
Wow.
Looks great, Janice, really does.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. It's strange. I don't know. You know the feeling.
So these are photographs?
Yeah, they're my photographs, and I've just layered them, and then on Photoshop, and then I'll try erasing certain areas so that the areas underneath can show through. It's trial and error.
They're so cosmic.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
That's,
Very nice.
that's me.
And they have a lot of
Yeah.
color as well, Janice. Very, very nice.
Thank you. Let's see if I got that one. Oops. Oh well.
Beautiful.
Great
Very
stuff.
nice, Janice.
Thank you very much.
Let's see.
You're on a
Mike-
roll with the clouds,
Mike and
Janice.
Sarah, do you have anything?
Mike? Where's yours? Yeah, Mike.
No, I don't have my,
Oh,
I didn't have time.
okay, I have. I had 2. I think I'm up.
Oh,
Whoa.
wow,
That's 1.
Wow.
that is
That-
amazing.
That is, I don't know if you can see, oil pastels, but they're almost like crayons.
Yes, they are.
And the background. And I've had these around. I started using them. And the vase and the what's in the middle is actually I'm trying to use some photographs that we're never going to use. So some of mine, I wouldn't take Mike's. and I'm cutting them in different shapes and trying to arrange them. Sometimes I arrange them purposely, and other times, like I've heard people say, I just kind of throw them down and see what happens and what I like. And I try to match the background with these. And I think one of the reasons I started some of these was because a lot of what I was doing I felt was dark. And I wanted to, because I'm sending these all out, I'm sending a lot of cards out to different people. And I wanted to bring light and happiness during this time to people. So I try to, instead of sending, I wanted to send light and bring a smile to people's faces. So this is from a photograph that I had taken, and I cut it out. And then, can I bring up the next one?
Now, I have a comment on this. You know
Okay.
what I thought immediately when I saw this? It's so funny you say you're bringing light, because immediately I thought, oh, it's the Olympic torch on a bad year, you know? When it doesn't, you know, it doesn't have the shape that an Olympic torch traditionally has, because it's a bad year. The Olympic.
Well, it's my interpretation of a vase with flowers, I guess, but it could be other things. But instead of sending people flowers, I'm sending these, and I've done quite a bit of them, and each one is different.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they take a lot of time. I do spray them with an acrylic spray afterwards, because I feel that gives it doesn't enhance them as much as it kind of melts everything together, and it's more of a finished look. And just hope that all that doesn't melt in the mail.
Oh. And if it does, it's just part of its history.
Right, see, that's right, that's what, yeah. So how do I get the second one? I have one more. Okay, wait 1 second.
We can have an exhibition of melted art. We could start with Terence's sculpture and
Yes.
add on.
One, is this one?
We're waiting for the second one?
Oh, I thought, okay, wait, let me, just 1 second.
I'm seeing that as a kind of a futuristic balloon floating in the
I like,
evening
You want me
sky.
to exit
the
the share
texture.
screen?
Okay, now I'm gonna bring up the second one.
That's the fun of it, is you put your imagination into it.
Yeah.
oh, nice.
Oh,
Very
very
nice.
Ikebana.
Yes, this one was quite different. I was using some of the techniques on the background that I learned in the Sunday. And then I did try to stay with certain colors, and this one actually gave to my sister, and she loved it.
It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Very nice.
And because at the same time, I did bring her some flowers from my garden in a blue vase. So in one day, she got 2 blue vases. And again, they're very time consuming, but it's something light, and there's so much going on in the world today. I delighted in creating something like this. It really took me over, you know. And again, this was from a photograph. Funny, I can't even remember what photograph it is, but you can't always use everything. We have boxes of photographs, so I select a photograph according to maybe shapes and colors, and then I move on from there. It's really, it does take a long time, but you know, I'm pleased with the outcome. And again, I like the shapes too. I like playing with the shapes, putting the shapes together, and the different tones of the different colors that I use. And so that's about it. This is what I'm sending out, aside from,
Beautiful.
yeah.
So Sarah, one thing I see in this image that's very pleasing to me is that I love you're using the technique that you described with your photographs, but you're getting soft and hard edges. So, you know, even though you're cutting and getting hard edges on the shapes, you're getting soft edges within each shape. And
Yes.
it's fascinating. And I think the color story is really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, yeah, and all that is, it happens as it's not all planned out exactly, but it kind of, it gives birth, like, do you understand what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's organic.
Yep.
You're leading the image is leading you.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
I think the image, the vase and flowers works really well with the background.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know how I made that background. I have to tell you, but I'm working on the things I learned on Sunday, and I'm waiting for that video to be up online so I can watch it again.
So I
If you
think
sell it, Diane gets 10%.
I think it'd be really fun though, Diane, if we all get together in the future and we actually show images like this to share how we've used the techniques that we learned.
Oh, that would be fun.
I'm getting together with a friend. My neighbor was listening in on Sunday, and she and I are having an outdoor play date tomorrow to use some of the techniques.
Yeah, that's good.
That would be fun.
I have a feeling that Diane is such a superb artist. She can really make it work. I have a feeling if I did it, it would just be a mess. But I'm still going to try, Diane.
Yeah, I just think, well, I just have to say, I think these are really wonderful. The collages,
Yeah.
photo collages.
Mm-hmm.
You could just tell you're really enjoying yourself. Like you could just tell. And I just think they're terrific.
And they're very novel, I think. They're very new. I mean, I haven't seen anything like this before.
I was interested in how this vase came out. Do you know what I mean? It like followed the lines. I like when that happens.
Yeah, it looks like the shadow on the left.
But I just want to add this. I bought a book online that was talked about on one of your salons that I'm reading about the hobby horse. Does anyone know? I have the book over here. Well, anyhow, and then there's some things that are on YouTube that have been mentioned. So I'm really learning a lot from these salons and these Tuesday night sessions. I mean, I'm just really learning a lot. I take notes during everything, and then I kind of research what's been said. I just wanted to tell you that.
Okay, thank you. Mike, do you have anything?
No, not yet. Still struggling with my new computer. But hopefully next time. But I'm enjoying what Sarah does immensely because she has grown so much in a short period of time. It's a wonderful thing to see.
If anyone is looking for an interesting book, if you haven't read it it's called Meditations on a Hobby Horse, Gombrich.
Wow.
And I'm not sure which night or which event I heard this on, but it's fascinating. Each chapter is fascinating. I'm not reading it right through, but if anyone's interested, you could Google it, Meditations on a Hobby Horse.
Interesting title.
You know where I bet you heard about it was because I take notes. I do the same thing, Sarah. I take notes and I look up the things that I'm interested in. And so that he wrote The History of Art, which was referred to one of the salons, one of the, I think it was the Rick and Bob salons maybe.
Yes.
And I actually went through my library and looked through that book. So now I'm going to go back to the library and see if they have the Meditations on a Hobby Horse. And you're right, we learned tons here. That's what this club is all about. You know, this fellowship part in the education.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ted, do you have anything to share?
I think I'm going to wait till next week. It's getting kind of late. I'm getting kind of tired, so
All right.
wait till next week if you don't mind.
All right. I'll just share with you that after last week, I went and got a color wheel after your display of a color wheel, and I used it in a couple things I'm going to show.
Cool.
So I guess I'll be the last. Is there anybody else? I think I'm the last one. And this is for Diane. I took your idea of the sneaker, and except I didn't use the printing technique, I used my digital microscope.
Okay.
And this is
That's
a digital
wonderful.
microscope view of the sole of my sneaker.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful.
And I've also started adding this political stuff. I want to keep it small, but I feel it right now. Here's another, this is sort of a portrait of a young woman in, I think this is a bridesmaid dress. I think there's a history of bridesmaid dresses. People don't really like them. But it's, if you look in the reflection, she's wearing sneakers. And she really is like a teenager. This is one I did today. I don't know, you know, I like old-fashioned hand printing. And so this is a combination of 2 or 3 different ads. And it doesn't make any sense. It's like a dream. The guy's talking on the phone into a, it doesn't make any sense, but I like the combination. And then I will go through, I have 4 more microscope shots. And under Susan's instructions, I will not explain what they are. Because some of you may not want to hear what they are. But these are.
Now we
Can I
do.
say that? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Very,
Yes,
very interesting.
Oh, wait, we didn't have enough time to look at the other ones. The ones that you didn't tell us what they are. Okay, let's look.
See,
Okay.
now I do want to know what they are.
All right. This is
I can put cotton in my ears.
a torn handkerchief.
Okay.
Really?
Wow.
This is a fly swatter made of yellow plastic that got caught in the fire, got caught in
Okay.
on the
Really?
burner of the
That's
stove.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't believe, yeah. These are the fabrics in a dryer sheet.
Oh, okay.
You know, the
Yeah.
fabric softener
Yeah,
dryer
yeah.
sheet. And this is the inside, the battery compartment of this familiar machine. This is your Comcast Xfinity remote.
That's fascinating, Bob, because it shows us what we can do just at home.
Yeah,
Don't have to get in the car.
okay.
That looks to me like sitting in the old Wanamaker's dining room up in the top of Wanamaker's,
Oh,
looking
yeah.
up at the ornate ceiling.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a very good one. Yeah. Yep.
Now, I promised that I was going to bring up a subject tonight, and that is the question of recording these Zooms. There's this they automatically record. It's and I have to sort of do something to not make them record. Here is, well, I will, in the chat, I will put, I uploaded it to YouTube. But if anybody objects to their contribution being online, speak up now or email me and I can cut you out. Personally, I would advise you to leave it because only people who have the link can see it.
Right, right,
I would not freely distribute it.
right.
But that's what I have. It's 8:25. Ted's back is hurting.
Yeah,
I'm
gotta
hungry.
go. Gotta go.
Oh, Ted,
Yeah,
you heard that your work was successfully entered. I talked to Bob Lee while we were in the session, and yes, they did receive your inspirations work.
great.
Over 40 pieces of work have been received for that show so far.
Wow.
The people are not having problems, obviously.
No.
Good.
Okay, well, thank you very much for doing that.
Okay, no problem.
Have
Yeah.
a good week. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks
Good
for all
night,
the,
all.
I'm inspired.
everybody.
I'm inspired by everyone.
See you.
That was
Yeah, me
great.
too.